much, Eric. Welcome, Mama Sarah Nyaruai. We are glad that you could be here. Hello, everyone. We are so excited to have you this evening. It is such an honor that you made the time to join us. And we want to welcome you to our session today, where we have the pleasure of interacting with the queen of networking. Anyway, so my name is Grace Nzula. I am a trainer and HR consultant with the Tara Solutions, a training and HR consulting firm, and a manager at Panesa's Training Institute, a carpentry school. Get It Right with the Tara Solutions is a platform where we demystify issues to do with entrepreneurship and employment. We are in partnership with Zalego Academy, a software development and capacity building academy, and NG Support Services, a brand management and communications company. This is our 10th webinar. Yay! The first one, we looked at the legal requirements of starting a business. We looked at brand management and communication. The second time, we sought to answer the question, how do I know which business to start? The third time, we had Mr. Panessa, who shared with us his journey in running a business for over 40 years. The fifth one, we discussed bookkeeping and what the taxman wants. Sorry, the fourth one, we defined what customers want. And the fifth one, we discussed bookkeeping and what the taxman wants. Followed by a discussion on business strategies, visualize it and win it. We have also had looked at the management of intellectual property, and then we went on to unmask employers. What do employers want? Last week, we had a very insightful session for better or for worse, what keeps employees. If you missed any of our sessions, please visit Atara Solutions YouTube channel, and while at it, kindly subscribe and click the notification button. Next week, we shall be discussing doing business while famous, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Please do not forget to join us. Let me share some facts and points to note. Did you know that out of all the businesses that start, 20% fail within the first year? Let me give it context. For example, all the businesses that started in January 2020, 22% of them have already failed by the time we get to December. Now, of the others that survive, 30% actually fail in the second year. So if you have a business that has gone to the second year, yay to you. Now, out of the rest, 50% don't see their 5th anniversary. And unfortunately, by the 10th year, 70% of those businesses actually fail. So of all the businesses that started in January 2020, by 2030, 70% of them will have failed. Can you imagine only 30% survive? Part of why they fail is because of lack of information and not having the correct guidance. And this is the narrative that Get It Right with the Tara Solutions is trying to change. So I am so pleased and honored to be sharing this platform with a person I look up to, Madam Sarah Karingi. I read her profile and oh my God, if I read to you today, you will say we are done. The webinar is just over. So Sarah Karingi is the CEO and director of Summer Enterprises Limited, Okolea International, and Global Network Investments. She has won awards. Hey, we invite you, our audience, to ask questions and we will answer as many as possible. Therefore, without wasting much time, Mrs. Karingi, tell us, how did you start and how did you get where you are? And you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I have unmuted myself, and thank you so much, Grace, for this invitation. Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, good morning,
yes.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because here in Kenya or East Africa, this is evening time. Yes. And I'm glad that, Grace, you invited me to come and share my journey. And I'll say that, yes, I'm popularly known as the Queen of Networking. And just to say a little bit about myself, maybe you can find me on my website, sarahkaringi.com. There's everything about me there, but I'm yet to update more information about me. And I love serving people. I'm a serious entrepreneur, very professional for that matter, but I can tell you it has taken time. It is growth, day by day, learning something new and applying it in my business. So, first of all, yes, my full name is Sarah Karingi, and that's how I like being called. Or if you call me the Queen of Networking, I'll even smile more. And I would like to say that how I started my journey in entrepreneurship. First of all, I didn't become an entrepreneur when I was just like that. It so happened that, of course, I started as a civil servant. Soon after university, I'm sure, Grace, you are not born. That was in 1985. That was when I graduated. Yes. Marketing offshore, that's what I took. And then I was employed by the Ministry of Finance as a civil servant. And I can tell you it was not easy. That time, not many women were very educated. And I thank God that I was among the few who, after, of course, graduating, we were quickly taken to different sectors in the economy. So I found myself in the Ministry of Finance, and I served the government from 1985. That was November 1985, I can remember well. And the salary was not much. Imagine as a graduate, you are getting 5,500, but that time the shilling was quite strong. But I would try to divide my salary, and it was not easy. So I was taking care of my relatives, I was taking care of my parents once in a while. And unfortunately, you see, or maybe fortunately, I would say, some will say it's unfortunately, others will say it's unfortunately, I got paged. I don't know how the language used when I was in campus, and my mom told me, take care of your child. So when I quit, okay, my mother-in-law took care of my baby. And then when I quit the university and I started working, my baby was still with my mother-in-law. Then afterwards is when I started working. My husband that time, of course, was away, was working in Kisumu. And it was not that easy. And I had to make sure, of course, I had to put aside some money to take home and to take care of my baby. So after about 2 years, I went for my baby. That was in 1986. 1987, I went for my baby. I stayed with the baby. I didn't know it was going to be such a hard task, but I had to fight on. So what I decided to do with my little salary, I decided to live away from Nairobi because most of my friends were living in Umoja. So I decided I'll be living away from Nairobi. I went to live in a place called Kasarini, which is on Kiambu Road, in a coffee plantation. Most of my friends thought I was very foolish, but I could have afforded there because one, there was a small piece of land where I was farming. There was some bananas which I was given by my landlord. So I took care of the bananas. I had some chicken I was taking care of. Of course, I had put just some outside my small house. And then, of course, I had some green vegetables and I would take them to the office and sell to people. But guess what? Some people never paid me. So that was when I was trying to do some business. And then my salary, what I did, half of it, I started saving with that circle. But I was living from paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck. And mid-month, I would go to my seniors and ask them to give me money. I was borrowing money. Then at the end of the month, I would, of course, pay back. Then one time, I just sat in the office and asked myself, is this the kind of life that you want to lead, Sarah? Then I decided, let me try business. So I went to a Kulima market. I would buy some vegetables. I come and sell to my colleagues. But most of them never paid me. It was very sad. Then I continued like that. And then again, I started saying that maybe the best thing that I can do is to try another type of business. So I went to Gikomba and I bought some clothes. That was a very good decision for me because I realized when I started selling, women unfortunately were not paying me. But I discovered that men were better customers. So, and when I sold to 2 men, they asked for more. And those were designer shirts. So I started selecting those very good shirts. I would clean them. I have put all those in my book, which is called Overcoming the Impossible. And I made a lot of money. So my life, of course, was more comfortable than most of my friends. Then afterwards is when I continued, of course. But then, unfortunately, when I was in employment, promotions were very given to specific people. So whatever is happening today, even those days was still happening. So don't think there's anything new or anything different. There was that mapendeleo, or you find that, of course, there are some people who, one thing, they never qualified because after, say, 5 years into employment, Others would come, I train them. I was very committed to work just the same way I'm committed to everything I do, and I would not get promoted. Then from after serving in the Ministry of Finance, then I was pushed now to Kenya Revenue Authority, where I didn't stay for so long because afterwards then my husband, who was an architect, also had designed before me, so he tried to try business and asked me to stay in employment just in case something happens, that there's no money for the family. So we decided to try his hand in business. So he started construction and it started paying off very well. He struggled. Of course, we don't get paid by some people, but he kept on struggling and he tried, and he believed that he was not a loser. Then afterwards, when unfortunately he fell sick in 2003, he had kidney failure, and so I was forced now to quit employment. Now, my journey in entrepreneurship started that time, I would say. But what was very painful was the fact that, yes, here I was taking care of a sick man, trying to take care of the children. We had 2 children that time. Even now, I still have 2 children. And you can imagine how it was, because after quitting, you have to manage him, you have to take him to hospital, you have to know how much money, of course, has to go to hospital, and then you try to look around the businesses, and the business that he was running, of course, construction, he couldn't continue with construction because he was sick, so he stopped. Then we have this other company called Summer Enterprises Limited. This is a company we started together, but it is him who I can say knew how to manage money, manage employees, manage customers, manage suppliers, manage the machines, because we manufacture doors, frames, flooring materials, planing, cutting. So he kept on improving and working on the machines. But when he fell sick, then of course all that was put aside. So I had to focus on his health. After 3 years, he died. So after death, you can imagine the pain, the confusion, and not knowing what to do. And then, of course, the people that I expected to come and help me, they kept away from me. So I looked at myself and asked myself, surely, Sarah, you have employees. Where will they go? You have a family, you have to take care of them. And my worst fear was, this was a business which your husband was running. If it fails, what will people say? And people would come and tell me on my face, you are not managing this business well. There was actually nothing to sell when he died because all the money had gone to hospital. And then we also had debts because we had taken a loan. So the manager of one of the banks was pushing me and was telling me, the collateral that your husband has put, of course, you are going to take it away. So you can imagine the panic and the fear. But I thank God, because I just sat one day, even after prayer, I told God, you know what? I want you to show me what I need to do. So I sat down, I put down everything that, of course, he had left pending. And I said, Sarah, there's nobody. You don't have a husband. You don't have anybody who will help you. And some were telling me that, you see, you cannot manage. It's your husband who was doing the construction. It's your husband who was running this company. He's able to even to take care of employees. Some employees had even stolen so much. So actually, I acquired a business that had nothing. So I had to start from square one. But I thank God, because we have a manager who is with us up to today. She's the one who showed me how to run the business. So she told me how they were doing it. She showed me how to work with employees, and employees left. Of course, told, you can just leave, this woman will not manage. A certain man actually came to me and told me, you know what, why don't you just sell this business to a certain Indian? And the Indian was brought because, of course, they believed I couldn't manage, and I refused. I said, I'm going to manage. But having faith in God is something very good, because I was able to, I believed in myself. Even having faith in yourself and believing in yourself, that can actually, is like a spark. The way you put a spark in maybe a room that has gas, and then it just blows off. And that is who I was.
Yes.
So I didn't listen to those negative words, and I decided that I was going to sit down, and I wrote down exactly what I wanted to do. So I started with a few projects. Of course, there were some projects that my husband was doing even up country. We were building a house for my mother-in-law. So I started, though I didn't have the skills. I worked with some of the employees he was working with. The other thing I did was to work with some professionals with whom he was working with, other architects and quantity surveyors. And then after that, I decided to learn because I used to visit the sites. Of course, I never used to do anything, but I would listen. And of course, listening and doing are two different things.
Different things, yes.
I would hear some of the things he was saying. So I started now looking and trying to consult with these consultants. And though I didn't make much money for even in some of the projects that he was doing, first of course, making sure I completed my mother-in-law's house. I went to my mother's home. I also completed her house because it was also not complete. And then there were other 4 projects which was doing, which were within Nairobi, Lavington, Karen, and 2 in Ridgeways. So what I did, I started with ones which were much easier. And along the way, I went learning the skill of construction. And I can tell you even now, I can build a house from ground up. I keep on, okay, I build. But I've stopped for a while because there are other things that I'm doing. So now in short, what I'm saying is this. At times, as an entrepreneur, there are certain things you have to learn. You don't have to be taught by somebody else. You learn, make mistakes, but then you learn from there. But you have to also consult as much as possible, but consult the right people. If I consulted the people who are telling me, close the business because you are a woman, others were telling me, there are many widows who have lost it and you don't see like you can make it. Of course, those are people who don't want you to progress. So it's up to you to decide, make a choice, what do you want? So I wrote down exactly what I wanted. Number 1 was to humble myself and listen to my manager because she was with my husband for a very long time. Number 2 is to seek guidance. Number 3 is to continuously learn. I had books. I have so many books about entrepreneurship. I listened to Dr. Robert Kiyosaki, and there's one word that he used, and I always remember that word, focus. Focus means follow one course until successful. And that is what made me to succeed in my business. So I took care of my business. Then from there, of course, we have other businesses in hospitality. So I also went there. I tried to learn what was happening. And then I came up with my own strategies. And I was able to move those businesses from one level to another level. And up to now, I've continued working even with consultants. That time, when he was sick, of course, the taxman was also following me. Yes. And so I sat and negotiated. So that was the time I also learned the art of negotiation. Just go and in case maybe you have a problem, go and talk it out to somebody and they will listen to you. How did I also manage the loans? The loans, what I did, when the manager, of course, I realized was really apt to sell our property, I went, saw a friend of mine who was very close to the CEO of that bank. She took me to him. I told him my problem and he said, there's no problem. I can see you have before you used to pay. Yes, we have this problem, but we will defer the payments. So we spread out the payments of the loan. So I was very happy. And I told him, you know what, I'm not leaving this office until you give me that letter. I take it to my manager. And that is exactly what happened. So I took some time before I could settle that loan, but it was at least a relief. So I was able to manage these other resources. So now, Summer Enterprises, what it does is that we manufacture doors, we manufacture frames, and I can tell you, I have grown that business. And the other thing that I have done is over time, after now, my business was just about to start now. We were just, we had come out from the ground. So of course, it's just like the plane, when you're just about to move to the other level into the air, my business was set on fire. You can imagine I had over 10 machines. In fact, the total of my machines, I think they're about 15. So 13 of them went into flames. And you can imagine now the loss in terms of the value, in terms of the building, 3/4 of it was consumed by the fire. The stocks were consumed by the fire. And then, of course, but I never lost hope. My hope was not consumed. So that is what even kept me going. I said, Jesus, if this can happen to me, then this is someone who can even kill you. And then someone asked me, Sarah, you mean you are not insured? Okay, let me tell you something about insurance. And if there's one person who is listening to me and is working for an insurance company, I pray that if things can be if you can be able to make the process faster, that can save a lot of people. I can tell you for sure, even if that happened, I did not get ulcers. But what happened was, after now the fire, which took place on a Sunday, I actually thought it was just by mistake that it happened, but KPLC staff came and told me no. They showed me where the fire was thrown, and I could actually, they showed me, and then they told me all the cables were intact. Now, someone asked me, as I said, how come that insurance never paid you? I had not insured for so much money, but the property was worth over 20 million, but I had insured for 10 million. What I got paid after 3 years was 300,000. Now tell me, was I supposed to sit and wait for them to pay me? I'm still struggling, I'm still mourning, I'm still going through a lot of so many stresses, and I would just come home, lie on my seat, sleep, and not even eat. I go back to bed. So when the fire took place, I sat down again and I said, Sarah, this business must come back to life. And what I did was now to write down again what I wanted. So I went, the first thing that I did was to call our employees and tell them, don't give up. I'm going to make sure that this company will come back. But all you have to do is to bear with me. So I would go there, I see the ashes, and then I would look at my ring, my wedding ring, and I would say, this ring was once a rock. It went through a lot of pain. It was crushed. It went through furnace. Now this is furnace, but it looks very beautiful. So one day, my building, my business will again be very beautiful. And so I can say for sure, what happened is that I organized myself. I went, I talked to the suppliers of the spare parts, and one particular man was very kind to me. He told me I just go and pick those spare parts on credit and I pay them after some time. As I get money, I pay them. And I can tell you, I paid them after 3 years. I would pay them 2,000, 5,000. And it was very kind because all through, my husband used to buy things from him. So it is good for you to invest in people. If you have to work and want to succeed in life, you must invest in people. So he invested in his business. We never used to buy from Asian companies, but we went and bought from him. Then the other thing that I did, of course, is that we had very good employees. So, and I started developing a very good relationship with my employees. When they had problems, I would take care of them. So even this time, they never left me. So I was able to pick myself up, and I started, of course, repairing the machines one after another. I would wake up very early in the morning. At 6:30, I would be at work, and I would get back home at around 9:30 p.m. You can imagine. But after 2 years now, my business was smooth and it was running again. Then is when I came to learn about the power of networking. A friend of mine, I just went to buy fish from her. She told me, do you know what, Sarah? Have you ever heard about Business Network International? I said, no. Then she told me, can I invite you? I hear they help people to do business. So because I was desperate and my business was not really running well, I took myself there. And that is where my total transformation came. I met different professionals who taught me how to be patient. So of course, as a business person, I had to learn. For 1 year, I never got any business, but I continued giving people a lot of referrals. Second year, I never got any business, and I continued giving referrals. But when I talk about myself today, I would say that I have learned so much that is not even just the money. The value I have received from the people that I have met. Number one, I became so good in the organization that I started becoming top in that organization in terms of giving business, in terms of mentorship, in terms of, learning. And I also went to meet the founder. You can imagine the determination to learn. If you are an entrepreneur, you cannot stop learning. And when I joined a few minutes ago, I was talking to Eric, who is running this program. And I was telling him how I love young people because today we are in the era of information technology. I am 60 years old, and I can tell you for sure how much I know about IT, information technology. Not, of course, as a professional, but how to apply it in business and to see it change. That is what I'm doing. So I have done digital marketing classes. I've gone to Strathmore to learn about how to run a professional business. I have done a certain course, which is an equivalence of an MBA. And I can tell you that, of course, because I have been made a leader. I have served in some classes as a president. Right now, currently, I'm also serving as a president in Business Network International. And I can tell you my business now has grown. I have learned the art of branding because I didn't know what branding was. I do not know how to use laptops and computers because I used to get very scared. Today, they are my friends. I know how to use a good phone. Before, I used to use a Mulika Mwizi. So my phone, I use it for almost everything. It's like a laptop. So I don't have to struggle. Anyway, I can access my emails. And I've been telling some of my friends, let us use good phones. Don't say that, of course, investing in a good phone is wasting money. So now I know how to manage money. I know how to manage resources. I know how to talk to employees. I know how to even humble myself and listen to younger people than me. I don't say because I am doing so well in business that I cannot listen to Grace. No, I'll listen to her. I will ask her important questions. How can I walk? If I limp, can you help me to move from one step to another step? Or I have this problem. Can you help me solve these problems? At times, we fear to talk because what do Grace say about me? No. If Grace laughs at you or she doesn't give you any proper information, go to another person. That would be my advice to you. So I can say now the Global Networks Investment Company was born in 2016. And the reason why I started this business was because I wanted to train, especially young people, when it comes to networking. I asked myself, Sarah, you are so good in networking. I've received so many awards. I think now I have 9 awards in entrepreneurship, but most of them are about networking. So I asked myself, Sarah, with all this such a good skill in networking, you have received awards locally, internationally. So what can you do with that skill? I said, let me start this company, because when people come to Business Network International, you find that, of course, there's a lot. You have to wake up early in the morning. Other than now that, of course, we are doing Zoom meetings, you have to pay a lot of money for, of course, membership. And I said, these people come and they go away. So I said, with this skill, I can equip the young people. And I can tell you some corporates owned by young people are doing so well because I have equipped them with business networking skills. So that is what I do. I also speak. And through, of course, you can see my journey. I've also become an author. I have a book called Overcoming the Impossible. That is the story of my life. I have shown people, of course, how the lessons, of course, I have learned as a young girl, as a woman who is married, of course, as a family person, and also a widow, and as an entrepreneur. And then I've gone ahead and written another book called What Successful Business Networkers Do, and I'm now doing as a 4th book. The 3rd book, I can say, I thank God, because you can imagine an international author putting me and calling me and telling me, Sarah, let us co-author this book. It is called Who is in Your Room? And that one is a book I have co-authored with a man by the name of, who is the founder of Business Network International. So I can say I have seen good progress as an entrepreneur, and I'm very exposed. And exposure has really helped me to change. Before, I could not even speak to anybody. Right now, I can speak even to the president without feeling any fear. You can even see one time I was also given an award with the First Lady because I served very well because of, I went to class in Strathmore. I was the best in class. I came out everything that I did, and then they came to my business, they assessed it, and they saw the systems that I have put in my business. And because of that, I can tell you, things are running so smoothly in my business. I don't have to be there in my business. I have structure. So as an entrepreneur, you should have structures. I learned about the power or the importance of succession. So I have brought my children in my business. I did not force them, but over time, I learned to bring them slowly by slowly into the business because I didn't want to die with my business. You have seen many people, they are doing so well, but when they die, they go with their businesses. Sarah is not going to be like that. I've brought my son, I've brought my daughter, they run the business, whether I'm there or not there. I travel, I go in for a whole month, I come back, I find everything is running. Wouldn't you want that kind of a business? So if you have any questions, please, you are free to ask me. Thank you very much, Grace.
Wow. I want to have coffee with you, and you tell me now deeply, how did you get out of the fire situation? How did That was a very, very, very moving story. Wow, I am inspired. So we can go on and take a few questions. So Lucy Kilo is asking, how do you know the people you are consulting are the right ones, especially when you are when you are young in entrepreneurship?
Wow, that is a very good question. I would say that, like, when we started our business, we actually consulted the wrong people. When my husband started Summer Enterprises Limited, we started by selling a few pieces of wood. We made losses. Then we went back again. In fact, the first stock was worth 1,000 shillings. So we lost the money because we consulted the wrong people. So the people who are consulting were the same people who are stealing from us. So you have to identify. Then we went, of course, second time. We lost again. My husband asked me, what exactly are we doing? You know what he did? He went all the way to Elbagon. When he went to Elbagon, that is where the timber was coming from. And he would stay there for a week. He would move from one to another person, and they showed him how to do it. So you have to identify the right people. Now, how do you identify the right people? For example, let's say I'm an accountant or I'm an auditor, and you want to learn maybe things about auditing, or maybe you want to get who the right auditor is. That is now where networks are important. That's how now you have to know who can connect me with the right people. So you have to have the right networks to be able to connect with a person who will not mislead you. Because you will find that, of course, the world out here is not very kind to people. We were brought down very many times, but we would fall and rise, fall again and rise. Then is when I realized that I think we are doing the wrong thing because we are consulting the wrong people. So you have to make sure that you have the right network. If it is maybe even doctors, you don't just go to any doctor. And you know what, even like in the internet, you can maybe go to LinkedIn and find out, or maybe you can just ask in a group of people. Like there's a time I was thinking about a few months ago. And then what I did, I just put in different groups in WhatsApp. And I asked, okay, I want ABCD. This is the information I want. And the good thing about information technology is that you get a lot of information online. So I got so many people who gave me the people who are, of course, going to supply me the service. And then, of course, after that is when I called one, I called another until I settled on one. So I think you have to either ask the people that you know to connect you with the right people so that you can get the right answers.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah.
So Kevin is also asking, how do you protect yourself from multi-level marketing scams?
That is very interesting because I would say that there are so many scams that are coming up. It's up to you to make decisions. If you want to do multi-level, let me tell you something. I also do multi-level as a side hustle. Let me say why I'll say this is because we have seen about COVID-19 and everybody is talking about how COVID-19 is bad, and when I look at it, I'm saying, oh my goodness, I can see this opportunity, I can see this, I can see this. And I was like, yes, it has come. So it is like a Goliath and I have to fell down this Goliath. So what I did, I have been in Forever Living. And Forever Living, I know the products are very good. The others, of course, which if you're not buying a product that you can see, I think it's better for you to think twice. I'm not saying that I have not done these others about Bitcoins and all that, but you have to be very careful. If you have to do that's what I'm telling someone, and let us be very honest, don't get into a business that you don't really understand. Consult as much as possible. Try to, and if you have to risk with a little money, that even if you lose, you not feel the pain or the pinch. You can imagine, I know there are certain people who have invested so much money in some schemes. There's one friend of mine I told, please don't put in that money in that scheme and you lose. Guess what? After a month, she had put in 2.5 million shillings after selling one of her properties that she had, and she lost everything. So why should you do that? So I think it's important for you to be very careful, do a business that you can manage to do. My side hustle, I have been selling products of Forever Living, and I have been making some good money. Then, of course, during COVID, there were these sanitizers that, of course, people are selling and all that, whatever. So I saw an opportunity in a certain group, and I said, someone was 5,000 pieces of sanitizers. And I already know a friend of mine who is manufacturing this. So what I did, I made sure, of course, as an entrepreneur, I saw an opportunity. So as an entrepreneur, are you quick to pick opportunities and fly with them? So I connected the two of them, but I said, okay, this is the price we are going to sell to this man at, say, 600 shillings, sell to him at 750. So mine is 150. Now I want you to multiply 150 shillings times 5,000 pieces. I made a whole 750,000. Just like that. So as an entrepreneur, you should have another eye, and you should have another ear, and you should have another brain. So don't be caught by people. So a business like that one is not bad, but multi-level, for me, I think it is not bad because we have many in this country, but if it is not a product that you are seeing, you just have to be very careful. And if you have to lose money that you not really feel a pinch losing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So Lydia Washura is asking, when is the right time to begin a business? When you are in your late 20s, is it advisable to do so, or should one wait to gain experience in employment, then begin later?
What I will say is this, anytime is time to begin business. If you have a passion, let me say, when I was still a civil servant, I said that I tried this business, and then I realized, you see, that was, I think God was just shaping me to, of course, to do bigger business, because right now I do international businesses. And even when you are young, or even when you are old, or whatever age you are, you can start a business anytime. Look at this guy of KFC. He started business at what age? At 65 years. People are asking him, we have retired. We are starting a business now. But what I would advise you to do, because I know most of the people who I know are listening to me, I'm assuming most of them are young people. Start doing business when you are young, so that in case you fail, you have the energy. In case you fail, of course, you are like, I think I can consult here, I can consult there. And because, of course, when we're much older, unfortunately, what I've been seeing like here is that when people are so old, it's when they start now building their homes up country, when they should have started much earlier. So unfortunately, what happens is when we have money, when we are young, and I will tell you for sure, like for me and my late husband, many people laughed at us because when I went to live in Kiambu, my friends would come there and ask me, Sarah, how can you live in such a small house? By that time, we were saving money so that we could be able to do something, of course, to save and invest in our businesses. And then we started saving and, of course, buying land slowly by slowly. And from the money that he was making, we were able to invest in different, of course, land. Of course, that was everything that time. And then after that, we'd sell this piece of land and buy another, which is more prime. Then after that, we make more money. We move to another one, which is more prime, sell, make more money. That time, it was very easy to buy land and sell land. So if it means doing business, start business when you are young. If you can manage to do it when you are young, well and good. But if your heart is not in business, please don't do it. After all, there's nothing wrong with being employed. But I can tell you for sure, even when I was in employment, I was taking risks. One time, I will tell you, I was still in employment. We were not supposed to fly out of the country. I told my husband, you know what, sweetie? Me, I want to go to Dubai. That's the time when people were buying phones. I had discovered when I was still in employment, I saw that, of course, the duty had gone down. So I decided, let me go to Dubai. I buy some phones, and I bought phones. I would bring them here every Friday. Then I come back on Monday morning, and nobody would know. Because if I was found out, of course, I could have lost my job. Now I can say that because I'm out of employment. I made a lot of money after every 2 weeks, and then I already had a market. So I had gone to a certain Asian who I used to buy phones from, and then I would go and sell them in the office. So he told me, Sarah, why don't you think of, can you go to Dubai and buy? I said, why not? So he gave me 100,000. My husband gave me 100,000. I went to Dubai, I brought this, and then I sold. I continued doing like that every time until it got to a point I was like, I think I can quit employment. My husband told me, no, don't. Since you are still doing this business and you are making money, so I would make that profit and I give to him and do something with it. So I think it's just a matter of you thinking, how can you do it? If you love doing it, it is not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like that. Sandra Joy is asking, how did you start networking? What were the steps you took?
Wow, thank you very much, Sandra. Now, there are times when life will push you into something. I've talked about the fire. And when you are in the fire, in that furnace, it's like you don't know whether you ever come out of it. I was in total confusion. I didn't know what to do. People laughed at me. My neighbors all laughed at me. Some, of course, not all. That is from where I was working, not at home. Mm-hmm. And some, of course, never knew that I would even succeed. And as I have said, when you have genuine friends, they will lead you to a promised land. Because I love supporting people. When I left my place of work, when of course I was trying to repair my business and trying to get business and all that, after now, of course, now I got people to, you see, I was operating from an empty shell because I could not be able to roof my business. So I just decided to work on each machine, and I roof on each machine, and then I'll go to another one and roof like that. And of course, people would continue laughing. Until after 2 years now, when I started networking was when I went to support this friend of mine who sells fish. She wanted to close her business, and I told her, you know what, how about if you have lost business like the way I have lost millions of 20 million plus, you have just started and you are giving up. Why don't you just try, keep on trying? And I kept on supporting her and encouraging her. She's the one who led me now into networking. And I made it so intentional for me to learn how to network. And some of the steps I took was to become a very good listener. I would listen how people introduce themselves. I used to shake. I would stand and shake, and I'm like, I would look at people, I see them looking at me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, now shall I be able to say something? So I used to dread the days of going to even introduce myself. So over time, I learned how to introduce myself, what not to say. I kept on asking people what I need to do, and then they worked with me. I became friends with a few of them. Of course, when you go into a new place, not everybody will like you. Others will look at you and they're like, and I used to look like I'm Shamba. And I was like, oh my goodness. But over time, there are those who embraced me, and I became very sharp because I'm a very fast learner. Grace, you look at me.
Yes.
That I didn't know how to use computers, as I said, and I was very scared. I had to be very humble. So the ones who are very friendly are the ones I befriended, and they taught me how to use computers and how to learn how to network. And then I started now learning more, listening more, YouTube, all that. I learned so much. And that is how I became a very good networker.
So I was saying,
yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I was saying there are so many questions. I don't know whether you'll be able to finish all of them. Lisa Molo is asking, how did you manage to deal with debts from loans and come out strong?
Yeah, I've just said that now what I did is that debts are not bad but what you do is you have to be a very disciplined person when it comes to debt. When you borrow money knowing where you are going to take that money. Don't borrow money to go and buy clothes for wearing, just to look beautiful and all that. It's not bad. I'm not saying it is bad to look beautiful. But when you borrow money, know you are borrowing it for what purpose. Now, what I did was, now when the fire came, I realized I'm still paying the loan, the old loan. I cannot be able to borrow any other loan. So what I did, some of the assets my husband had left behind, I said, you know what, even God asked Moses, what is in your hand? And I said, Sarah, you are the Moses. What is in your hand? I looked around and I saw the plots that we had, the lorries, even one of the lorries that he had left, which was using for construction, a few pickups, which were old, and I said, these ones, I think the best thing I can do is to sell them off, take this money, go and pay off some few debts. Now, when it comes to a loan, the debts, that what I did was to sell a few, say, properties to settle some of the debts, and because I didn't want to be so stressed. So I said, okay, this is my stuff. Why can't I just sell these things? Then later on in life, I'll buy more. And that is exactly what I did. Now, when it comes to debt, borrow a debt, put it in a business, and make sure that you turn over that debt as quickly as possible so that now you can be able to pay. Something I learned from my late husband was this, and we are here to learn. When you borrow money, and say, for example, you have borrowed 100,000 shillings. I'll use a very simple arithmetic. You have borrowed 100,000 shillings. There are times people say, okay, you are told now to pay it within 6 months. Mm-hmm. Now, what he told me, and I found him to be very wise and very intelligent. For me, I was saying, no, maybe what I can do is, if I make if I'm supposed to pay 10,000 every month, and maybe this month I have made 15,000, why can't I just pay the 15,000? He told me, no. Since you still have to pay that same amount of money, why don't you do this? You just pay the 10,000 every month, and that month, if you are supposed to pay on 5th, don't pay on 1st. Because between 1st and 5th, you can be able to turn over that money quickly and make more so that you can be able to pay the amount that is supposed to be paid. And I was like, oh my goodness, yes. And he actually did for me the math and told me, do you see how much you can turn over? Okay. So we did. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I think at the end of the month, I'll be able to make about 150,000 Kenya shillings. So he was asking me, why should you go and pay the whole 100,000 shillings instead of taking that money to generate more income? So when you take a loan, make sure you use it for the right purpose, but also try as much as possible to pay within the given period. And if you can't pay, don't run away. Go and talk to your manager and tell him, you know what, this particular month, I may not be able to pay. Can I pay something little? Of course, there'll be a small interest, but it is better to pay than not to pay, because of course, definitely what will happen is they'll come for the collateral that you have given, and it is not necessary. Other people take a loan to go and buy dresses, others they take a loan to go and buy a very posh car. I mean, it's not, that's not, I don't know, there's somebody who said one time that people buy cars, of course, instead of buying what? Instead of, I think there's something, I don't know who it was who said that. People buy big cars just to show off, instead of them, of course, investing when they are young. Then when they are much older, they can buy those cars. So instead of climbing the tree from the top, it's good to start climbing the tree from down up, but not from up down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, Sarah. I'm really learning a lot from you. We have Caroline Washira who is asking why. Oh, wait, before I get to Caroline, I wanted to say that on the 8th of September, we have a debt management session. We'll have a debt management expert with us on this webinar on 8th of September. So for anyone who has a debt question, you can reserve it for that further. On top of that, now Caroline is asking why, when, where, why, where, when to insure your business.
Why?
Why? Why do you insure your business? Where do you decide to do it? And when do you insure?
When, it should be immediately. Because you see, you never know what can happen. A few months back, I can tell you there's a time I had a problem, and because I had insured, of course, you need to insure. Number one, you need to look around and see the insurance companies that are good and the ones that pay. That time when our business was consumed, okay, I say I lost over 20 million worth of property. And of course, I took 3 years to get paid after, and even the 300,000, part of it, like 100,000 shillings had gone with the lawyer. Mm-hmm. Then the other amount of money was 200,000, which I was left with, so you can imagine. So when you need to insure your property, even where you stay, is now. Immediately, if you can be able to insure and negotiate with your insurance company and make sure that you do the right thing, and then consult as much as possible in case this happens, when can I be paid? And then you get a very good agent who can help you to get the payment. And when you pay, don't pay to an agent directly. Go and pay to the insurance company, because there's a time I remember I used to pay to an insurance agent who never paid. So of course I lost something. That is a different kind of thing that I was doing. And the reason why you should insure your business is, of course, for that protection, just in case, of course, you lose. These days, of course, if they come, they do the investigation, they find that, of course, you can easily, I mean, your claim is genuine. It doesn't take very long. It's not like a long time ago. This time, they are more professional than before. So then when you ask where is now, of course, you should actually consult as much as possible. Find out whether Britam is better than any other company, if it is ICA, if it is, find out which company is good with what kind of insurance, because all of them are not the same. So when you do research, you'll be able to get the right answer. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that is very well answered. We have two people asking the same question, John Kihoro and Mideva Theodora. Mideva is asking how you can help people who have a business plan and the type of business they want to venture into, but does not have capital. And then John Kihoro is asking, are you a mentor? I would like to enroll for mentorship by you.
Okay. Yeah, Grace, I think Grace will give you my contacts. I mentor young people, yes, and then maybe we'll discuss. Then, if you have a business plan, what you do is that you consult me and I'll lead you to the right people who will be able to guide you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Faith Geshuru, because I'm seeing we're also running short of time. Faith Geshuru is asking, I'm impressed. I would want to know, how does your normal day look like?
Well, let me tell you something. You know, people ask me where I get the energy from, but me, I don't even understand. I'm a very busy person. Okay, let me start by saying I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. When I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, the first thing I do is devotion, and I read the Word of God, and I meditate on it. And then after that, I always, because networking is I'm so passionate about it. I must listen to a podcast on networking. I must listen to one or two videos from Joel Austin or a motivational podcast from somebody. The other thing that I do is that the other times I also read. I learn a lot. If you look at my bedroom, it is full of books. I have so many books on business, on networking, on leadership. And I think that is what has made me the way I am. Very positive person. I never give up. And then what I do during the day, I plan my day. Like now, the whole of this week, I've already planned. I knew, even before Grace called me, I was supposed to come here this time. So I got home very early to be ready and just relax so that I could come and attend to it. Now, there are times, of course, I go 3 times in a week. I have a fitness trainer who comes home and I train with him for 45 minutes. For those days, that is Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I can tell you it is a vigorous exercise and I'm so flexible, I'm so fit. I don't have any place that aches me. I mean, my body does not ache. So then there are times, of course, I have time for God, which is on Sunday. I make sure that, of course, I do my online Sunday service with my pastor and my church. So that is how I spend my time. Then there are times I also go to play golf. And I have discovered that, of course, when it is said that your network is your network, for me, my businesses mostly come from people who are in golf clubs. I engage a lot. And the reason why I get business from people is because I'm very social. And I make people, I accommodate people, I smile, I make them feel good, and I also connect them a lot. I listen to them a lot, and I say, oh, I have this, I think I can connect with XYZ. I think there's someone who I know. So that way, they also now, of course, they say, Sarah, we also want to support you. And I can tell you for sure, money just, not money, but business just comes my way. I will not take a week without receiving business from people because I connect a lot with people, both locally and internationally. Then there are times I sit down and I Google a lot of information, which is something about business. I'll Google some information about business. There are times, of course, like 3 times a week, I'll be in a Zoom meeting like this one, either mentoring people, encouraging people, or training people. So that is my day. And then there's also time for my family. Like on Sunday, I'll be with my grandchildren. We'll drive to different places. I connect with them. My children, the same. We sit, we laugh. Then I go with my daughter maybe to a place to just relax and I feel good. That is how I spend my time.
Thank you very much, Sarah. We have 1 minute to go. And in this minute, we have 2 questions to answer. I know that one of the questions we are being asked is where do we find Sarah's books? But that will be part of your parting shot. But Joseph Karume, I think, is asking a very important question. He's saying that from your story, you have been blessed to accumulate wealth, meaning you've mastered the art and skill of financial management and planning. As an inspiring technological entrepreneur, I'd like to know what skill can you share?
The skill that I will share, of course, is it about money or is it about what? I don't really understand that question.
I think what he's asking is for someone who is investing in technology, what is the one skill that they need to have to succeed in entrepreneurship? Okay,
for you to succeed in entrepreneurship, let me tell you for sure today, and you people are very lucky. Information technology today, I can see there are so many opportunities that I see. It's only that I, as Sarah, may not be able to apply. But what I have done in order for us to maybe like write on technology is we have used anything possible, say like Instagram or Facebook. That technology, of course, now my daughter is one who is running with it. And I have realized that, of course, the more visible you are in business, because if you look at Coke, you look at Safaricom, you find them everywhere. So I asked myself, why can't I also be the same? So we go online and we market ourselves as much as we can. And from there, we are getting corporate, we are also getting individuals, we are always making inquiries, and of course, we are converting them now to business. So that is how I can say that you have to be willing and ready to invest in technology, and of course, consult the people who are doing it, let's say like the Lego Academy here. He has told me he does IT, and he helps a lot of people. So why not maybe consult people like Zalego, who even if maybe probably they're not good in one, because technology, of course, is so wide, they can lead you to the people that you think now they know and help you. So it's just a matter of connecting with the right people who are doing the right things, and then you find yourself succeeding. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I think we are going to share Sarah's contact as we share the presentation. I'm sure Nyarwai has been taking notes, and we shall, before the end of the week, we are going to share the nuggets of wisdom from Mama Sarah. Thank you very much, Sarah, for joining us today. And we are so privileged and honored to share in your story. And I hope that you continue inspiring more people. And for any other question, you can still hear me. Okay.
No, I can hear you.
No, I was asking where can we find your books?
Yeah, my books, you find them online. As I've told, I use information technology. You go to, you find them online, and all of them, they're there. And then if you need maybe a physical book, of course, that hard book, you can still get it from me. You just type Sarah Karingi and you find it online. Yeah.
Okay. I think what we can do, Sarah, is we can share the links as we share the information about this webinar, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and your contacts just in case someone wants to get in touch. And
yes.
We are so honored. Thank you very much. You have really inspired us. Thank you, Zalego Academy, our IT partners, for your support. Thank you, NG Support Services, our communications and brand management partner. Do not forget to tune in to 96.9 PAL Radio in Nairobi. That is 96.9 FM in Nairobi. Thank you very much, our audience, for tuning in tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you, and I hope you keep learning. My name is Grace Nzula from Atara Solutions, and I have been your host. Please like our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Atara Solutions. See you next week at the same time, same place, as we look at doing business while famous. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I am so looking forward to next week. We have a very special guest for you. From all of us, it's good night, and let's keep doing this. See you next time.